You want to make stencil art like this, or even this? Anybody that knows me will just know that I'm the guy. I'm the guy. So here's the first thing nobody expects. Your painting area, your studio, where you're going to make your stencil art, leave it. And you're not going to be coming back to it for a while. Because the first thing you need to do, design your stencil. Now I use Adobe Illustrator for this, but there's a choice of softwares like GIMP, Photoshop and stuff like that. Here's one I'm working on right now. There really is no quick way to explain this, but basically what you're doing is redrawing an image and splitting it down into its different color groups so that you can cut each layer into a stencil. Designs can take anything from a couple hours for something like this to something like 8 to 10 hours for something like this. It all depends on the number of layers you have. Or you could cut out all the hard work and just get the stencil from me. Today, we choose Pikachu. I can send you a pre-cut stencil at lots of different sizes, or if you want to cut it yourself, you can just download the files from me. Once you have your files, you need to color match them. You can take your spray paint chart like this and just match it up on screen. Get yourself a PDF of the color chart and match it up that way. Or you guessed it, if you get the stencils from me, I'll do all the colors for you. Once you've exported all the layers, you need to cut these out, and there's a few ways you can do this. You can print them on some thick paper and then use something like a craft knife to cut them individually. Use a Cricut machine like this. These will set you back a couple $100, and if you get the files only from me, I'll give you a guide on how to use that. You could get yourself a laser cutter. These will set you back about $3 Or if you go for one of my full kits, I cut it out for you. Now Pikachu's cut out, it's time to paint. You can spray paint your stencil on anything you like this standard canvas here. Today, I'm going to use poster board. If the stencil is the subject, you can paint the background before or after. I'm going to show you both methods today by starting with some black. Now that's dry, I can lay out my first stencil. When I design my stencils, I add these cross hatches so they line up perfectly every time. Now where those are, I just add a little bit of low-tack masking tape to protect the painting itself. A little hack for this, if you don't have masking tape, you can use a post-it note. To get Pikachu in the center of the page, the stencil is slightly off-center, exposed in this side, but that's okay. We'll just protect that with some more of the low-tack. Now we can get some paint out. With my stencils, I tell you the exact Montana Gold cans to buy, but you can use any spray paint you like. Now I recommend you weigh down your stencil with some rocks or nuts or bolts or whatever you have, but you can also use one of these. This is a coffee stirrer. I just use this to hold the edges down as I move around. Okay, so we paint the cross hatches first. I always do those in black. And then with your first color, start working your way around. The number one thing to remember when painting a stencil is just to use light coats of paint. You literally just want to cover the layer underneath. You don't want to go pooling the paint. Take your weights off and then very, very carefully just peel off your stencil. Boom. Now most importantly, for the love of God, wait for it to dry. You can use a hairdryer if you're impatient, or just wait. Once that's dry, then Gandhi's flip-flop, you can come in with your second layer. Line up the cross hatches perfectly, weigh it back down, and then rinse and repeat. This next layer is banana. Once again, just carefully peel it off. Repeat those steps for the remaining layers. Now with all my stencils, I design in these overlayers, so you can lay this over the top, so you can add to the background at the end. So maybe for this painting, I just wanted to top off some of the black, or maybe flick on a few stars, or maybe even use the overlay to my advantage to spray on an aura around Pikachu. Of course, never forget to squiggle that diggle, and once you've done all of that, boom, you're a stencil artist. If you want to try out your first stencil from me, just use this code at checkout.